The first book I ever used in 1971 was Black Motherhood. I liked it. Now, people complain about that book. I love that book because everything he had in there had a footnote right after it. So when my students, I didn't know how to teach anyway, so when my students would ask me something, I say, it's right there. Go to the library and look it up. It is a wonderful study guide type book. Don't kid yourself. But we were so indoctrinated into the way Europeans write and opsit and locksit and biblio, you know. And so we were used to reading books like this, and it didn't look good unless it said all this kind of foolishness. And we didn't read it because it didn't look familiar. But more important, what he's saying today is we didn't read what he was writing. Now, I'm not like that. I read what he was writing. I'm part Native American, and I never understood European thought anyway. Because in the Native American culture, people come out of the earth. They don't get thrown down into the earth. And it's critical for you to understand that if God is up here and making the world, in the Western world, the world is made, done and over with, and all the mistakes are sitting here and we're wrestling through them, and that's an impossibility. Everything in the world is being and becoming. There's nothing in the world made. You are being and becoming. So when you look at a Native American Acoma myth, then the world is in the making. If God is mind, spirit, and body, and God is all, whatever God is, the divine essence that rules the world is all. If your body and its spirit, then where does the spirit get its body? And where do you get your spirit? You see, it's interrelated because you can't be all unless you experience everything. And if you're just spirit, you can't experience materiality. So in the Acoma myth, the world is God experiencing materiality. You follow me? Okay. Now, what Dr. Ben is saying is you can't be half and be all. You can't be male and female. And even if you read Genesis 1, chapter 1, he made them male and female, he made them. It's not to chapter 2 that you get with these rib people. Now, there may be rib people. I mean, we may not belong to that tribe, but there may be some rib people. So I don't want to get on your case if you came from the rib. But I come from Dr. Ben's tribe, which is the womb. My girlfriend Joy Hardeman in Tacoma, she has this thing, the word in the womb, and she sort of sees them coming together. But I'm sorry. If in the beginning was the word, it was get me a womb so I can have a mouth. It's fundamental. It's fundamental. The concept of immaculate conception comes out of the idea about nature. It was Mary who was immaculately conceived. It was Jesus who was virgin born. They missed all the fun, but anyway. Immaculate conception, everything in the world that is conceived is immaculately conceived, because if it's a rotten seed, it don't grow. Yeah? I mean, like, let's get down with reality, people. Like, you know, you cannot tell a people that the mother of all humanity is the mother of sin, and then at the same time tell people, be good. I mean, if you're innately sinful, where are you going to get the goodness from? You know, you can't take sex, which the divine intelligence that rules the world is the only way we can get to procreate, and then say it's a sin. And if it's a sin, why'd you make it so damn good? You gotta give it up, folks. You don't have to believe in some little white man with a book saying Charshee's at it again. You know, 'cause I'm gonna die. I've died about 7 times, and Parisi said they keep sending me back. You know, and they send me back because the purpose of life is to move to a higher level. That's what the purpose of life is. Now, Jesus is a perfect example of that because he was born Jesus of Nazareth. He was just a person who walked around. He began to study. He began to see. He began to realize there was something incorrect, and he moved himself from self-consciousness and egotistical and individualism to a cosmic level that is global, which is what AHSA is trying to do to you all. Move you to a global level, move you to a universal level, move you to the level of having the faith in yourself and your children that you have in a mustard seed. You know that little parable? You take that mustard seed, starts to grow, you put some water in it, you put in good dirt, you go buy fertilizer, you work on that plant, starts to go this way, you stick a stick in there, straighten it out. Well, you have so much faith in that plant. You know how you do? Spray it, wash it off, because you believe in the perfectibility of a plant. But you don't do that with your children. You don't do that with your children. You're just like your father. Ain't no good, never be no good. You understand what I'm saying? Because this society has taught us to focus on the negative, focus on the devil. I wrote a paper, Black man didn't learn to believe in the white man's God, but he sure learned to believe in the white man's devil. You know, and that's what we do. We do not preach perfectibility. I'm not saying you're perfect. I'm saying you have the ability to move toward perfection. I'm saying you have to teach your children you have the ability to move toward perfection. I'm saying every day that you get up, you can say, let me be a hip experience for God. You know, you have the choice. You have the determination. You have the spirit. Everything is spirit. In the Native American culture, there are three entities. There is the body, there is the spirit, and there's the ghost. Now, the body goes back into the earth, except for you all who burn yourself up. I don't know where you go. But the body goes back into the earth, nurtures the earth, refurbishes it, and keeps the cycle of existence going. Spirit returns to spirit. See, because each one of us is just a manifestation of spirit, just like the finger on your hand is a manifestation of part of you, but you're all part of the all. When we talk about the one, it should really be the oneness of God, not the one. You understand what I'm saying? Not one God, but the oneness of us. And each one of us can manifest in each way. And then the Native American has the ghost. Now, I know you black people believe in the ghost. And I'm not talking about the spook or the African Holy Ghost. I'm talking about when your people die and you're in the house and you go, you know, or you say, Nana. My grandmother talked to Monroe Boykin, who was a country circuit preacher in 1825. But all my life, my grandmother talked to Monroe Boykin from South Carolina. And as a kid, I thought Monroe was a person. You know, she's a Monroe this, and I'm going to talk to Monroe. I was about 50 years old. I realized if he was born in 1825, that sucker had been gone for years. You know, see, because what we do is lock ourselves in time, but we don't lock ourselves in conceptualization. And we need to lock ourselves in conceptualization. If you read Churchward's work, it says before Ptah, all was motherhood. After Ptah, all was fatherhood. Mother is primary. That's what Dr. Ben is trying to say. Mother is primary. Mother's a mystery system all unto herself. Mother can bleed a week and not die. Mother can bring people out of her body like a snake does several times. So she probably figured the snake only told mother a little bit, you know? You understand? But then Moses, who was found in the water, was raised in all the wisdom of Egypt, but it was a matriarchal society. He couldn't become the Pharaoh. So he joined up with this tribe and Aaron and went up and came down with 10 of the 42 affirmations of faith and said, God is the man, and the woman has disappeared. And if you read the Bible, you see that the people said, well, this isn't cool, and they reverted. Remember they were out there singing and stuff like that? And it has taken 2,000 years or more to convince you God is the man. Think about it. A man that's as limited as you can get. in terms of it is. All you got is one little sperm. We're not even sure that's doing anything. It may be shooting off an electric charge. And sisters, if we learn how to do that charge, we might get rid of all of them altogether. You know? One thing we do know is that the woman's body is the fundamental temple of the passage from here and wherever we've been into this world. We know that the woman's body is the body that nurtures and sustains you. We know that you don't know anything until you know mother. And you know mother as the other in the womb. In the womb you know the other. You gurgle, you talk. It is all, every single human being goes through a female experience first. Woman is primary. That doesn't mean she's more important. She's just primary. If you don't go through her, you don't get here. I mean, that's simple. That's a simple idea. Now, I want you to think what kind of mindset somebody had to go through to make you think that man created humanity. Because you don't have any objective empirical data to see one man have a baby. Not one. I mean, give me a break, you know? I know white people make you think Easter bunnies lay eggs and reindeer fly, you know, and white men come down chimneys and projects that ain't got none. And that Columbus discovered a whole continent of 210 million people when the Lacayo said, where'd that dirty white man come from? They never saw soap in their lives. I know, but you see, if you're going to be a scholar, or even just a thinker, you know, like Dr. Clark makes us turn everything around, Dr. Ben makes us see both sides. If you're going to do that, give it up. Give up the lie. The white man speaks with forked tongue. He does. Now, that comes out of the belief that in the beginning is the word, that you can say everything you want. If you study ancient Kemetic thought, you will have to go before the dynasty. I love my brothers, but you got to go before the dynasty. And if you look at Israel, you get Isis, Ra, El, Mother, Father, Most High. If you study the Essene Gospel of Jesus, you will say, Our Father who art in heaven, and then say, Our Mother who art on earth. You see, even if you're a Christian and or a follower of Jesus, there's plenty of literature out there for you to look at a different interpretation, okay? One of the things about Diop's work, Chancellor Williams' work, John G. Jackson does Man, God, and Civilization. And there's one other person's work down here that we don't focus on. But Dr. Ben has Chancellor Williams, Diop, and who else does patriarchy? I think it's John G. Jackson. But the change in the African world and the change in the Native American world was when they introduced this idea of patriarchy, the nuclear family. In the African world, you have parallel development, complementarity. The women develop as women and the men develop as men. And when we begin to restructure our families and our conceptualization of life, we have to build in a conceptualization that men must be fathers. I'm not talking about biological fathers. Men must be social fathers. We have to have all, like Dr. Ben said, you know how to be a woman because your mother raises you to be a woman, whether you're teenage, most of us have been teenage pregnant, whether we had the babies or not, tell the truth. But, you know, tell the truth, shame the devil. You know, right, Justin? Right? We need to take our children and say, there is a way of life. I have a chapter coming out in one of these books called Women Who Want to Be Men, Raising Children, particularly men children, to be women who want to be men. Because white women are underdeveloped. And white women in their liberation struggle are struggling to be men. And the men Now, when black women aspire and indoctrinate themselves with a concept of underdeveloped people, and we're already oppressed, we ain't going nowhere. Our children are roaming the streets. They're not nurtured. We gave up all this stuff in disintegration. We gave up the Mason. We gave up all the communal things instead of restructuring them, instead of Africanizing them. You know, we need to go and take over the church. Dr. Clark is right. We need to make independent schools in those churches, rites of passage in the church, make brotherhoods. The Nation of Islam is one of my favorite models because they have structured responsibilities and respect, intergenerational respect, and gender respect. But the first thing, and probably the last thing I'm going to say, the first thing is women have to recognize you can't do what you're doing. You cannot raise children by yourself. You're doing it, but you're not doing it well. You're killing yourself, but you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing well. If you have children, get a surrogate father. Get a social father. Women, how's a young girl going to know what a man is supposed to be if she never sees a man in her life? If he's some shadowy figure floating in and out. If he's just a bang here and a bang there. You can't. You got to get back to these principles, the Nguza Saba, Ma'at. You got to put some moral authority in the life of a child. They don't, a lot of these kids, you know, we teach on college campus, a lot of these kids don't know right from wrong. They really don't. They don't. Their mothers are smacking them. They call them biatches and all that kind of stuff is going on in the house. But you can't just say, well, that's her family, do it. We as a community have to infiltrate to save our children. 86% of, I think, African American children are in single-headed households. Now, I hope they're not in single-minded households because there's a difference. Lots of people have raised their children not being married. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about building an extended communal base. And I'm saying until we do that, we're going to lose our children. If you study Europe in the 15th and 16th century, which is a paper that I've written, I'm going to publish it too, you will see that Europeans were cannibals. They used to eat each other in jail. They used to throw stuff out in the street. They were so filthy, they caused the plague. The Thames was so filled with garbage, ships couldn't go up and down. They had thousands of capital punishment. They exported the criminals. When Casals came to Brazil, when Columbus came to the Caribbean, they left 39 convicts here. They have been exporting their criminalization for 400 or 500 years. When they came here, the people didn't even know what swords were. They grabbed them on the side. They had no jail. They had no prison. Africa, you could go throughout Africa, and everybody would give you whatever belonged to you. We came from a moral culture. We came from a culture based upon reciprocity. We came from a respectful culture, but we're not there now. We're not there now. We have Europeanized ourselves. We have made our children Neanderthal. And our struggle, which is to me like my struggle with lupus, is called the wolf at the door. And you have to every day figure out what it's going to do next, right, Barbara? You know, every day. But that's okay, I'm here. And our struggle is this sort of a metaphor in my life. Our struggle is to humanize or remain human or hold on to our humanity without becoming the beast that we're oppressed by.